trap of the visible versus invisible, trying to drive real change in your organization? What's up, everybody? I'm Carpio, and this week I've talked to a lot of leaders, experienced professionals, and founders of firms globally who are grappling with the profound amount of change that has hit their teams this year and what they need to do to drive growth or expansion or innovation before the end of the year. And there's a very easy trap that a lot of them are being mindful that they don't fall into, and that is when we set new plans, when we recalibrate our strategies, we set clear messages, and we set up the KPIs, it's easy to go very much reliant on what I would call the visible systems, your usual levers of change. Okay, let's tweak the strategy. Let's maybe change up the structure, redesign the organization a little bit. Maybe there's some new players and new roles, and then really tap into our systems and processes to drive the needed focus of people that we believe will then unleash the impact and the results. Well, those are the visible layers, your usual suspects, and these are necessary, but they are typically never sufficient. In my humble opinion and my experience, it's usually the invisible systems, the things like people's beliefs, their emotions around these changes and what the opportunities are before them, and the energy that is inherent within those feelings and beliefs that holds the true power to unlock greater impact, change, and results. So if you are a leader, you're an experienced manager leading a cross-functional team, you are a founder of an organization ready to expand your impact, this is your work. You are like tilling the soil to create a fertile environment that really allows expansive thinking to take place, to allow beliefs to move from impossible to possible, for hope to actually be part of the dialogue in a way that's not Pollyanna, but really real and practical. And it's an environment in which these new ideas that we experiment with can actually bloom. It's the quality, I believe, of our relationships that ultimately leads to the quality of our collective thinking and dialogue together, that impacts the quality of our actions together, and ultimately the quality of results that we deliver. And so don't be one of those leaders who falls into the typical trap of the external over the internal. It's so easy, and it's actually kind of seductive too, to like get the right strategy, the right plans in place, and then not put as much attention on the invisible systems. But believe me, that is where the power lies. That's where the energy is held, the latent energy that actually is a competitive advantage if you can find ways to unlock it. And it begins with listening. A couple of leaders that I'm working with right now have either advanced in roles within their organizations leading strategically imperative initiatives with groups that have some cultural stagnation, some opportunities to release more energy, where there's more of a culture of victimhood versus victor over seemingly impossible challenges, right? And so we can have all the right strategy and structure and systems in place, but if we can't unlock that, crack that nut, open up the culture, we're not going to move things to the degree that is promised in the external strategies that we present. And so this leader, as well as a couple of others that are looking for what we call micro impact opportunities. So rather than looking for some massive impact challenge that's going to be completely redesigning and rethinking the business model or a way of structuring the group, another leader is looking for how might I listen deeply to where there are points of friction that we may have maybe glossed over in the past, not really harnessed in terms of the energy and the creativity that's latent there, and then identify a micro impact opportunity that we can take immediate action on and unleash momentum and positive progress forward. And she's doing this in a healthcare organization. There's a variety of different ways to do it, but it always begins with listening. And whether you call them, these dialogues with your team, a listening tour, or you conduct a more comprehensive cross-functional listening lab, as I do with a lot of my leaders and teams, or you just simply begin with small dialogues and kind of what we used to call in Hawaii talk story sessions, where you would talk casually and really listen deeply to not just the cognitive, the thoughts, right, but the heart and soul behind what people are sharing. Any one of these approaches signals to your teams that you're serious about listening to not only their ideas, but the source of progress, the source of inspiration, as well as maybe the sources of stagnation. And when you listen, you have the opportunity to listen to the quality of the thinking and where people place their energy. Is there a sense of personal power behind what they share? Or is there a sense of hopelessness and, a sense of victimhood? If we can't think and feel greater than the environment around us, then essentially we are kind of victims to whatever change hits us. And boy, there's no shortage of change right now. So if you're a manager, you're a leader, you're an experienced professional or a founder, if you want to start to really till that soil and create that environment that yields the invisible systems that will drive the success of your visible systems and changes, start with a listening tour or a listening lab. 3 basic questions can be helpful to begin, and I'm going to actually share with you 3 questions that one of the leaders that I work with suggested with a slight modification. The first one she suggested is to ask people what they're proud of. What are you proud of in what you've created? This taps into people's heart and souls and a sense of their contribution. What's meaningful to them? So what are you proud of most, right? Secondly, her question was what kind of keeps you up at night? And that's always a good one. What is it that people are really grappling with in the middle of the night? With another leader, we're looking at a slight modification to that, and that is, what is the thing that you believe is an unexploited opportunity for really having greater impact that we are just ignoring, right? So it's a little bit more fine-tuned. It's like, where are you sensing that we have an unexploited opportunity for greater impact that we have just not acknowledged or taken hold of? And it's interesting when you phrased it in that way to see if people are even thinking in that manner. And then the third question is more along the lines of, if you were me, what would you have me focus my attention on? Or if you were me, what would you suggest I focus my attention on first, right? It can also be phrased in terms of, what is one thing that I could benefit from understanding? So it's sort of, again, a little bit of the coach the leader moment to see what people share. Again, you're listening not only to the suggestions and you're listening with deep empathy and seeking to truly understand, but you're also listening to where there is openness or stagnation in energy. Where is there a sense of limitlessness? Where is there a sense of constraint? I hope that these questions and this idea of starting a listening tour to tap into the invisible systems that really hold the power and the energy to drive change will be helpful to you as you move forward to move from impossible to possible, to unexplored growth and possibilities in your part of your organization. Let me know how it goes.